The Vice President, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, His Lordship the Chief Justice, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, His Lordship the Deputy Chief Justice, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Ministers, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, honorable members of the diplomatic corps, cultural and religious leaders, the wananchi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In fulfillment of the constitutional requirement under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I am here to deliver the State of the Nation Address 2025. Fellow countrymen, countrywomen, and especially the Bazukulu, abantu abo, I applaud you all for positively utilizing the peace and tranquility prevailing across the country and the improved physical infrastructure to improve your personal lives, your families, and your communities. Since the last State of the Nation address, a number of people have unfortunately departed from this earth. They include His Holiness the Pope, late Pope Francis, the late Honorable Major John Kazora, former Member of Parliament of Kashari, the late Honorable Sarah Mateke Nyirabashitsi, the former Minister of State for Defense, the late Honorable Muhammad Segirinya, the former Member of Parliament for Kawempe North, the late Honorable Dr. Yako Chisa, the former Member of Parliament for Queen County, the late Honorable Babadiri Margaret, the former woman Member of Parliament for Koboko District, the late Honorable Margaret Komhanji, the former woman Member of Parliament for Nakasongora District, the late Honorable Cicero Ignatius, the former Member of Parliament for Bujaga County East, the late Honorable Frank Nabuiso, the former Member of Parliament for Kagoma County, and many other Ugandans who have succumbed to accidents, illnesses, etc. I request to rise up and observe a moment of silence in the memory of those that have passed on. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Sit down. In the Gospel, according to St. Matthew, chapter 7, verses 24 to 27, Jesus talked about two kinds of builders. The wise builder, who built his house on the rock, and the foolish builder who built his house on sand. When the rain, floods, and wind came upon both houses, that of the foolish man was swept away, because its foundation was weak, while the one of the wise man remained standing, because its foundation was firm and strong. The national resistance movement can be likened to the wise man in Jesus, because we have been able to establish the necessary foundation to catapult Uganda to modernity based on the four principles ideology. The principles are patriotism, love Uganda, Pan-Africanism, Love Africa, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. The aim of this ideology is to promote the mass line, i.e., guaranteeing the social uplift of all segments of the society, and not just the few elites. The mass line programs such as UPE and UPE's Universal Primary Education and Universal Secondary Education, the mass immunization campaigns, the wealth creation funds, e.g. Operation Wealth Creation, PDM, Operation Wealth Creation of the Army, where the Army was involved, OWC, Myoga, Parish Development Model, PDM, etc., have led to significant improvements in the quality of life in Uganda. Life expectancy in Uganda is now 63 years compared to 45 years in 1986. This means that Ugandans are now living longer. In 1986, Uganda's population was only 14 million. The National Population Housing Census conducted last year showed that Uganda's population is now 46 million people. The literacy rate has also improved from 43% in 1986 to 80% now. In 1986, more than 90% of the population was trapped in subsistence farming. i.e., working only for food with no surplus to take to the market to get money. There has been a significant reduction in the percentage of households in subsistence agriculture. They are now 33%. And you hear that at the beginning they were 90%. These few illustrations show that implementing the mass line programs is the most effective way of triggering socio-economic transformation. Therefore, in line with the mass line philosophy of the NRM, we must prioritize the following. Number one, peace and security of persons and their property in all parts of the country. Number two, accelerating industrialization with focus on building factories which use locally available materials as inputs. Number three, export promotion and import substitution by boosting the domestic manufacturing capacity. Number four, strengthening the private sector. Number five, increasing market access for our exports, both in the regional markets such as East African Community, COMESA, among others, and international markets. Number six, skilling our youth through the zonal industrial hubs. The youth will continue to acquire skills in tailoring, carpentry, metal fabrication, welding, shoemaking, weaving, hairdressing, knitting, and bakery. We shall add also plumbing and motor mechanics. The training is free of charge and no prior education qualifications are required as you. Number seven, increasing revenue collection by Uganda Revenue Authority without hurting businesses. Number eight, expenditure rationalization by restructuring the government. And I thank the Parliament here, as you heard the Speaker was listing those bills which you passed, which enabled this rationalization to take place. fighting corruption. Number 9. Number 10, ensuring that the remaining 33% of the homesteads still practicing subsistence agriculture join the money economy. The general security situation in the country is calm. However, the traditional and non-traditional threats to national security continue to manifest in the form of terrorism, negative political activism, general and cross-border crime, as well as health and environmental risks. The national borders are secure, save for the spillover effects resulting from the conflicts in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, Khartoum, and Somalia. These include influx of refugees and asylum seekers, illegal immigrants, and proliferation of small arms and light weapons. The capacity of the national security agencies, i.e. Uganda Police Force, the Internal Security Organization, supported by the Army, the UPDF, has been enhanced in order to combat crimes and guarantee the safety of all Ugandans. You saw how they stopped this young person who blew herself up the other day because she wanted to go into where people are, but it was foiled. It was intercepted before, and she decided to blow herself up because she was discovered. The security situation in Karamoja sub-region has significantly improved, despite pockets of criminality in the form of livestock thefts and some incursions by the Pokot and Turkana from Kenya. Deployments to stop cattle thefts by some of the Karamojong in the neighboring sub-districts, sub-regions of Sebei, Teso, Lango, and Acholi have been maintained. In the eastern DRC, the joint FADC is the Congolese army, UPDF operations against ADF are ongoing with significant achievements. Since November 2024, 223 abductees have been rescued from captivity, and some firearms and bombs have been captured, including IEDs, improvised explosive devices. The government continues to modernize and professionalize Uganda's security forces by improving their welfare and strengthening the cooperation between the civilian population and the security forces. The UPDF, Uganda People's Defense Construction Brigade, has rehabilitated schools in rural communities, and together with the National Enterprise Corporation, has been involved in the rehabilitation of major infrastructure such as Entebbe International Airport. It is paramount to just regard Uganda's political and economic stability. All attempts to destabilize Uganda by internal and external actors have been thwarted and defeated. We welcome mutual and non-parasitic collaboration with everybody. Uganda's priorities and interests are very clear, and therefore our allies must respect and uphold them in all their dealings with us. The patriotic leadership in charge of the country's affairs cannot deviate from its historical mission to defend and transform Uganda and Africa on account of threats by some of our allies who misunderstand our goals and methods of work. For instance, we are soon finalizing the construction of the 1,443 East African crude oil pipeline from Burisa on Lake Albert to Tanga in Tanzania. This East African crude pipeline will take our crude oil to the international market through the sister country of Tanzania. The construction of the standard gauge railway, which I launched last year, is soon starting, and we have signed a memorandum of understanding with Alpha BMP Investment Group of the United Arab Emirates to start the construction of the oil refinery in Hoima. Many other projects